Morning. Happy Friday, everyone. Cheers. Oh, YouTube cut the start of that out. Interesting. Hi, everyone. There's no point waiting. It's not like a normal Wednesday stream. So, there's no rules. No rules. Things are going okay. Down under monster mark. We've I think we've had 6 days in a row now of 0 new cases, 0 deaths, which is great in Victoria. So we still have our mandatory mask restriction, which sucks. As it gets warmer, wearing masks isn't pleasant. But yeah, things are going okay. And just in general, I guess. Just checking my stream, make sure everything's okay. So it says 5 viewers, but only 2 chatters. Hey Rob, good morning. Yeah, Europe. I feel like you guys just left it too long to go back into, hey, Kuka737. I think like everyone's just left it too long to go back into lockdown. Yeah, like the US yesterday had the first day ever of 100,000 cases, new cases in a day. That is crazy. 100,000 new cases in one day. You all should have been on lockdown earlier. Ooh, is my audio clipping? Let me know if my audio is okay, please. It's cold in here. I should have brought a jacket. I didn't bring a jacket. I wish the Melbourne weather would fix itself. Okay, cool. I just show it clipping over here sometimes, that's all. Okay. Well, I have nothing planned. Nothing planned for today. I got stacks to do, so I could just sit and do stuff while we're talking. Hey, Dargs. Good morning. Oh, okay. Yeah, restart your browser or something. Oh, I've got no drop frames. OBS and YouTube's been pretty stable last few streams. Now that I said that, it's going to go bad. I know. So Yaz and I started the big chore of packing stuffing bags last night. So these are just the feathers I need to build. These are just the feathers. So these are all empty bags, obviously. Some of them have got labels with cards. Some of them have just got labels because Yaz ran out of cards last night. She was doing feathers. I was doing tiny picos. Holy shit. So I have some news. I have some feather news. I'm just going to wait a bit because it's still a bit early. It's not even 7 o'clock yet. So 10 concurrent viewers. Yay. Hey, Dave. Good morning. So I've got quite a few patrons, right? Where's my patron page? Like it's pretty amazing, I have to say. But I have, unfortunately, hey, Bruce. Yay. Morning and evening. Yeah, I did actually... Sorry, but I don't actually get to speak to many of them because... yeah, it's just... Most are quiet. So I got 133 patrons. And it jumps around. I lose a couple, like 3 to 5 every month, and I gain sometimes 1 or 2. Sometimes I go up a couple in a month, sometimes I go down, which is fine. But most stay quiet. Most don't comment on posts. Most don't even watch the videos, I don't think, because, well, I know, because I can see from the viewing numbers. Would you find any solution to do something automation about packing? No, I haven't. Can I tell you, I'm happy to discuss this. This can be just a complete, full-on, open, honest chat about anything you want today. Kind of AMA, whatever, if you want to, whatever. I don't mind. there's stacks about my production line from start to finish that could massively be improved, but it's all about spending chunks of money to do it. A lot of money, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm happy to talk about that shortly. Simon, just remind me if in case I forget. I find I sometimes miss Patreon only YouTube because they're unlisted notifications. But don't you get the messages from Patreon? Like I send out a, hey Graham. I send out, obviously, every time there's a post, I send out a, like every time I do a video, I send out a post from Patreon, and you should be getting emails from them notifying you about the video. Are you not getting them? I get the email 24 hours before. Right, okay. Well, that's different. Hey Johnny, good morning. And evening. Yeah, okay. I mean, I can't do anything about, unless I could find a way of injecting something directly into your calendars and having it ping an alarm on you every morning. Speaking of alarms every morning, I almost didn't wake up for the stream today. I did something quite funny. So I went to bed last night, and my ritual on a Tuesday night is when I go to bed, I grab my phone and I make sure my alarm is set. My stream alarm is set. For me to wake up at 5:30 in the morning. And so this morning, so I did that last night, and then so this morning I'm lying in bed, so tired, thinking, luckily the alarm hasn't gone off yet. I can maybe go back to sleep, get an extra half an hour. I didn't know what time it was, right? And I'm lying in bed, and I can hear the heater going. And I thought to myself, hang on, that's weird, because the heater doesn't come on until 5:45, and my alarm's set for 5:30. And so I look at the time, and it's like 5 to 6. And I looked at oh my God, I missed my alarm. Didn't I set it last night? So I looked at my alarm, and I'm an idiot because my alarm's set to only go off on Wednesday mornings. Because that's my stream day. So the alarm didn't go off. So luckily I woke up. Otherwise I'd still be asleep right now, and you guys would be talking amongst yourselves. I'm getting the Patreon notification regularly. Okay. I have sort of weather on my... Oh, really? You got weather working on your Whopper? That's awesome. So I've got a project that I've been tinkering on with my Whopper, which I haven't got working yet. Something that I think you will all potentially love. And something that could... I guess potentially allow me to sell a whole bunch more Whoppers. And I'm trying to do it without any new hardware. So, hey everyone, if I go off on a tangent during a conversation today, just pull me back in whenever you want to, okay? We're going to keep this quite, I want to get back to the production line automation for Simon question, because that's a really pressing one for me. But, so there's been a lot of really interesting stuff about... Hey John, good morning, or evening, afternoon. There's been stacks of stuff about like ESP32 and MP3 playing and ESP32 radio stuff recently, right? I mean, David Watts did a video about his recreation of his radio, which was amazing, and the video did really well. Lots of people doing projects like that, and the Whopper's perfect for something like that, although the speaker on the back of the Whopper's, I mean, it's a buzzer, right? But there is the external speaker connection, and although it's only a mono speaker, you can actually get some decent sound out of it. So I got talking, breathing, inhaling, and drinking coffee at the same time is hard. Awesome, Bruce. I'm keen to see it running when you get it working. So I want to do internet radio on the Whopper, but I think I've got a way of doing it without needing a decoding chip. Hey, Nikhil. Good morning. Or evening for you. Pretty sure. Late. Is it late for you? I think it's late for you. So that's the challenge. Like, I don't want to have to... Like, on my to-do list, I've got a new Audio Shield type board that'll work with the Tiny Pico and my Pro S, whatever it's going to be, that will have more decoding stuff. You know, like I can put an MP3 decoder on there and some other stuff and make it a, maybe stereo audio and whatever. But I I thought it'd be really cool if I could get it working just in software. And yeah, that's one of my it's a project. It's on my list. It's really high up there, and I've been doing research on it, but I just haven't had a chance to get onto it yet. Yeah, 1:30 a.m. That is crazy. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Thank you for joining. I shouldn't call you crazy. That's not nice. So I'd love to get that working and be able to allow people to do some form of internet radio, or at least just playing MP3s or playing audio properly, but just via software without needing any extra hardware. That'd be really cool. If not, there are stacks of MP3 chips out there. Yeah. Don't really need it because I've got 2 e-paper things that do the weather for me. How many displays do you need around you to letting you know that it's cold outside? Yeah. 7:05. I've got stacks of stuff happy to talk about today if you want. I've also got to sit here and stick cards in. I don't have to. I've got things I can show you. Let's talk about some stuff. I use the Pi with Hyperpixel and the Magic Mirror software. I've always been interested in the Magic Mirror type stuff, but not enough to actually pull an old TV or monitor apart to do it. Because there's nothing, I don't know. Like the Hyperpixel that I bought, that I was going to do that little display thing. Like I got all that, I got it all working in terms of running better and everything, but at the end of the day, I just never look at my to-do list, even on my computer. I'm not sure I'm going to look at it, so I just never finished it. And then I stole the Pi, and I'm using it on a test jig. Live latency bouncing around. Really? That's crazy. I'm on ultra low with no drop frames. And it says my stream health is excellent. Healthy. So yeah, I don't know why that's happening for you, Rob. Sorry about that. I ended up stealing the Pi for a test jig anyway, so the only Pi I'm not using on a test jig right now is my Octoprint one for my Prusa. So, 2 things I want to show you that I've been playing with. Might be a bit hard to do. Let me just switch. My desk is really a pigsty. It's really a pigsty. But, so, I need to plug this in. This is going to really be an ad hoc. Okay. So that is a K. We'll get to that in a moment. It's half a K. Let me do that again. Hang on. You might see. Let me just unplug. Okay. It'll go okay. But not properly. And I'll explain why in a moment. So I've been working on, as you can see, I've got a tiny Pico connected to this board. So I've got this connected via serial, not via I2C. This what I'm doing right now is not anything to do with my display specifically, my tiny digit, but it's to do with something else, which I'll talk to you about in a moment. But the thing I want to do is going to be using a tiny. And so I'm just using this and using the display as an output, right? Kind of. Because the Tiny 406 does not have enough memory to do what I want. I can't have UART software to use. I use Affinity Designer. So Affinity are a company that make Affinity Photo, Affinity, which is like a Photoshop replacement. Affinity Designer is a Illustrator replacement, and they've got Affinity, I think it's called Publish, which is a like a desktop publishing package, and it's cheap. Yeah, it's $80 a copy, no monthly fees or anything. It's not subscription based like Adobe. I used to use all the Adobe products. I had them forever. I was on Adobe Cloud for quite a while. Hello, Mallow. And it just, the software is just way too bogged down, big and heavy now. And Berger, hello. And yeah, and then the price kept going up. Like when I started the subscription, it was $49 a month, and by the time I canceled my subscription, just gave up on it, it was like $110 a month. And thank you, Simon. Yeah, $110 a month, and it was just, and I wasn't using anything except for Photoshop. And I just really disliked Illustrator. I'd used Illustrator a lot, but I really disliked it. And it took me a really long time to wean myself off Photoshop, because I was a Photoshop Pro user. Like I've been using Photoshop for like 14 years, like really using it, you know, not just cropping photos, but, you know, because I was in the VFX industry. But yeah, it took me a long time to wean off it. But I moved to Photoshop. I moved to Affinity Photo first, but I really had to learn Designer, like the vector-based stuff, because it's super important for... Now that everything's going high DPI and other stuff, you don't build anything with pixels anymore. You do it all with vector, because that way everything can scale and you don't have to worry about pixelization or anything else. And it took me a long time to get into Affinity Designer, but I did. And yeah, never looked back. It's really good. And it's available on Mac and Windows. And that was pretty long-winded, wasn't it? Okay, so I've only got the one Tiny Pico connected. Good. You're watching your video on your NVIDIA Shield. I just find all the Adobe software now is just like, it's turned into what Microsoft Office turned into. Like, Microsoft Word is a great word processor, and there's a billion features in it that no one uses or needs. You know, it's the same thing with like Photoshop and Illustrator. It's become so bogged down. Anyway, I'll stop talking about that. I use Affinity products. Yeah. So what I wanted to show you, actually, let me bring up switch windows. So just give me a second. We won't even talk about the fact that there's still no result in the US election, which is insane. But so I'm just closing some stuff down. Close. Okay, so now where's my OBS gone? Innovation for the sake of marketing. So I'm sure many of you, maybe not all of you, have seen like Tron Legacy, right? The second Tron film that came out way too long ago. I'm still waiting for the next one. Anyway, so you know what it is? It's like what they did in the start of that. They were talking about how they're releasing their new NCOM OS, you know, version, whatever, and they asked like, what's different between this version and the next, you know, the old version and this version, and they said we added a number to the version number. Right? Like it's just it's crazy. The whole have to release a new update every year and have to make it. Yeah. Anyway, sorry. Okay, so this is a console pointing to my Tiny Pico, and so the idea is I can send a number. You might be able to see the display. If I send a number, it does something on the other side. And you see it did something. But here's the problem. I'm out of memory. I have no flash or RAM space left on this chip, because it's the smallest of it's the 406, right? It's got like hundreds of bytes. That's it. And so I've only got enough memory currently to keep a quarter of the font and half of the display, and I don't have enough memory for one function to clear the display. Which is crazy, right? So, and there's no serial output on this. There's serial output, but you can't read it directly. It's got to go through. So I'm using a Nano to program it, but I'd have to set up another Nano for serial output. Anyway, it's pretty crazy. So I bought, I had to put an order in for DigiKey yesterday. I'm glad, I should have done it at the start of the week, but I'm glad I waited, because I need to get some more paste. And so I ordered just 25 of the 1606, which has got more flash and RAM. And yeah, it's really frustrating. So, but so what I've got is serial comms working. Like, I don't even have enough memory on here to send a message back via serial. That's how, like, I've literally got like 3 bytes left. That's it. It's pretty crazy. But I've got at least, I can see one-way serial working. So what that is for is, what I'm playing with is for my reel rack. So I spoke about it on my stream on Wednesday. I've actually come up with a different idea of what I'm going to do on my reel rack. Although I bought some of those slots, optical slots, the issue with IR in general, time to do it in assembler. No, my assembler days are long gone. So the problem with IR, and after the stream, I re-clarified all of my original decision making. Right, I should have maybe done it on stream just to prove to everyone, but I re-clarified my original decision making by actually, I'll put it away now, but actually connecting up various types of IR sensors that I've got here and proving to myself that they are all unsuitable to be detection for a reel. And I'll explain why. This is the thing that most people didn't even get yesterday. I don't have anything in front of me now. I put it all away last night. So I'm just going back to you for a sec. So the problem with IR is it can't work close. So with IR, you know, like a normal... hang on 1 second. Hopefully I won't drop this on myself. Okay. I have a lot of different IR stuff, right? Like I have no shortage of IR. We are rather dense sometimes. No, not dense. Not dense, just not... I had a lot more time to think everything through than everyone else did, right? So the problem with IR, like this, these type of sensors, which everyone was saying I should be using, it doesn't matter how good or bad they are, how much you spend. The problem is, if I get something like this, doesn't matter what it is. Now, assuming that the surface is reflective enough, because if it's not reflective enough, it doesn't work. Or the range is inconsistent, right? But the problem with IR is somewhere around here will kind of work, and here and here and here, but from here onwards doesn't work anymore. IR, it can't do really close. And if it can't do really close, and let's grab these reels. If it can't do really close, and you've got a really small, you've got a reel, an 8mm reel, and it's got to detect it in there, that doesn't work. That can't work, right? And to do it on the outside, you'd have to be at least 5 or 6mm away, which means I'd only be able to have reels this far apart, which is kind of pointless, right? Waste of space. What's more is that look at how translucent some of these reels are. Some of them aren't. This one's more opaque. Do it like Apple with magnets. Well, I've got a solution. Anyway, so my solution for the slot does work, right? Yes, it's got to stick out a little bit on the side. So I would have to, but I need space to be able to get my fingers in to pull them out anyway, right? So the idea is that I'd have like they'd be 5 or 6mm apart, which is, I can't do that because my thumb's too big, enough to grab them, right? The slot thing works. The problem with the slot thing is that it's quite difficult. I've still got a plan to try the slot, but it's difficult to build the rack and have the slot integrated on the side, and it's got to sit on the PCB, and so the PCB's got to be slightly wider than it, unless I go through hole, which I didn't really want to do because I need the PCB perfectly flat on the bottom, which means it's going to hang out the side a bit, and it's going to look a bit ugly, whatever. But it can be done. It can be done. But I've got a better way of doing it, except it's expensive. Right, I'm using a VL53L1X, and I am, and I've already got it prototyped. Yes, they're expensive, right? But this fixes all the problems, and I'm going to show you that now when I switch to here. Unplug that, move this, should unplug that as well. Seriously, my desk is killer. So here's a tiny Pico with a screen with, that's a 53L1, and if I plug this in, distance, right, and this can go all the way to 0. See that? 1, 2, all the way up. I've only got it updating every second, right? I can make it faster, but it doesn't matter, right? Don't know why that's going negative. Interesting. So the point is, I can, look, watch this. I'm going to roll it in, okay, if I can. So, now let me restart it. I don't think it likes the camera above it. Maybe what have I done? I was messing around with the code last night, and I shouldn't have. I was trying to work out why. I don't know why it's going negative. That's me. The negative is me. Because, anyway, I think I know what the negative is. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I was messing around last night because for some reason, after about 45 minutes, this is all working, but the screen stops working, and I don't know why. But anyway, the point is, as soon as I come in from the side, it'll pick it up. See that? It's picked it up. Oop. So that's picking up, like if that's over the top now. See, the screen just turned off. Maybe it's a breadboard thing. Might be a breadboard thing. Anyway, forget the rolling in. If I put that over the top, it's showing it. Oh, you can't see it. It's showing like 20 something, right? And if you look at where the parts are, if I grab one that's full, right? Like that's pretty much going to 0 because it's right over. Oh, you can't see it. Like it's sitting right in here, right? If I grab one that's got, you know, a bit of a gap there, if I can get it out of the way. So the point is, it can almost measure real capacity, but that's not my main purpose. But what this will allow me to do is, the problem with a slot is the slot, as they were trying to explain to me yesterday, which I already knew, like I already planned for, the slot has to sit exactly on a place that the reel rests on. So if the reel rests, for argument's sake, like the way my things work is that there's a spot. Do I have anything round? I don't. Let me use these. Let me get some props. So if this is where the reel rests, there and there, so it's just hanging, yeah, then the slot would have to be exactly here or here, where it touches, and it would have to ideally be on the angle, the tangent, right, to get the perfect slot insert. Now that's doable, but that's trickier to do. Trickier to do than if I had something like this, where the angle doesn't matter, because when there's no reel on there, it's going to have a large value, whatever it is. And when there's a reel on there, the value is going to drop. And it doesn't matter what the value is, I'll be able to detect if something's there or not, right? And I can stick it anywhere on any angle. right? Because it could be like this, right? It could be like that for it to be able to detect it. It could be, does that make sense? I know it's hard to show under the camera. But yeah, but the problem is these are not cheap. These are like $4 US each. Well, this is for a real rack for my garage to be able to, I want to build, gotta find that photo again. Let me just find. Right, that one. So I want to be able to, can't really see that. Go away. Let's make it smaller. So my plan is for this whole bottom row here, these three, to be full of reels, like 8mm and 12mm reels. Yeah, the Zero is a little bit cheaper, but not by much. Like, I'm going to need like 100 of them, assuming that every one of them works. And at the 100 quantity price, it's 30 cents, sure. So it ends up being $30, but I'd rather just get these ones. I don't know. Anyway, so the point is I want to have that whole row being 8mm and 12mm reel racks. Like this one here is 12mm. On my black rack, hopefully you can see my mouse, a bunch of them are 12s and a bunch of them are 8s, but they're all 8mm on the red and blue. I want to do that whole shelf with reels. And so, this is what's interesting about this, but also what's bad. So the nice thing, the bad thing is I need to have, for instance, if I do 100 of them, I need to have 100 addressable spaces. And so to be able to uniquely talk, it's if I just have LED strips, not a problem, right? I can have a strip and I can talk to 100 LED strips, right? 100 LED RGBs, which I've actually got here, and I got a package yesterday from DSL, so I'll open that in a moment. But if I want to have any type of detection, I need to have extra wiring go to it. And I don't want to have, if I've got 100 slots, I don't want to have 100 wires going from a master. I want it to be chained. But chaining's a problem. Forget about addressing and stuff, right? Chaining's a problem because these are really close together. How do I chain the PCBs? I thought about using little quick connectors between the PCBs, but they don't make cables short enough to join them together. Like, I'll need a 4mm cable to join each side. So I might as well just I can't do one long PCB, obviously. But I thought if I did little strip PCBs that were about the width of a reel, right? And then each one was connected by little headers with another insert PCB, like a joining PCB along. Because wiring is going to be a pain. I don't want to have to do that. So that's the first challenge. How do I actually do individual PCBs? And then each PCB has to have an RGB LED that I can control. It has to have a sensor that I can read, and the sensors are I2C. And it has to be able to be addressable from the master, which means it needs an MCU on there, like a tiny. And I need to be able to communicate with them all. And I don't want to use I2C because there's too many addresses there. If I need 100 addresses, I can't use I2C. So, but I can use serial. And I need to be able to identify each one. And what's really cool about the VL53s, the time of flight chips, is you can program what their address is. You can put them into program mode and tell them this is your I2C address, which is awesome. So what I can do is, if I put each one into program mode and tell it what its address is, then I can then also put that address into the EEPROM on the Tiny, and then the Tiny knows what the I2C address is of the sensor and what its own address is. It'll be the same address. And then when I send out communication from serial, it can pick up which address it is, right? So the first one will be address 0, and the second one will be address 1, and the third one will be address 2. And I don't believe there's a limit on what number you can use. I mean, it's got to be the hex values, but, I should be able to do 100 of them easily. So that's really exciting. But I need to be able to put each one in program mode individually to do it. And I can't do that without user intervention with 100 of them. Normally what you'd do is you'd put it through like an IO mux, or like an IO expander or something, and you'd systematically one at a time put each one in program mode and tell it its ID. But if I was to get 100 of them, even I believe you can get some IO expanders that will do digital IO. You know, you might get 32 ports. Well, I'd need 3 of those chips on a controller, and I'd need individual wires going to each one, right? Because I'd need to individually put each one into program mode. And that takes me back to the 100 wires going through, which is crazy. So what I'd probably also want to do is put a button on each board. And I'd be able to put a button in, like I'd press a button and say, you're in program mode. And it gets its number. You can go to the master and say, what's my number? It'll just pick the next one. See on tool, top tip, take the stuff out of your back pocket when sitting down, especially with a bad back. It's just a wallet. Sorry, I didn't see that, Rob. Was using it to detect a foot. What? So I didn't even see. I missed a whole bunch of this stuff. So I used the Polulu library. It was actually the nicest and smallest I could find. The most lightweight library that I can find. Although I don't think the Polulu library does interrupts. But that's the other thing. So I can use an interrupt. So I don't even have to sit there polling the sensor. I could have the sensor trigger via an interrupt to tell the Tiny that something's happened. Anyway, the thing with all of this though is it's going to become a very expensive thing. Like 100 of them is going to cost me about $8 or $10 per PCB that's got to go in there. So that's like $1,000 worth of PCBs to build a reel rack to be able to detect enough pull to reel off the thing. I'm really thinking I should just put my RGB strip there and don't automate the pulling out and putting back in, and just do it all with an interface on a screen and not do auto detection, because it's like $1,000 worth of, you know, it sounds like a really nice fun project, but it's crazy. That's really clever, Bruce. Yeah, they're really good. These sensors are really fantastic. And they've got a new one out now. It's like the 6 series, the VL6, that can do some really... I think it does much further as well. I think it can do like sub-millimeter accuracy up to 8 meters or something, which is crazy. Put it on a belt. What? Put it on a belt and drive by the reels. Nah, it's okay. They don't publish register usage, instead they give you a C++ library. Yeah, they've got that their API library that you need to use instead. It's a bit weird, isn't it? It won't increase my productivity, but it's a really cool project. Right? It is. It'd be a cool project, but I don't think it'll increase my productivity at all, personally. Because I don't do a lot of taking a reel off and putting it back on the shelf. I don't. What I'm trying to do is standardize all of my parts enough that I'm rarely swapping a reel. Like, I'm trying to fit out my whole pick and place machine, every slot I can, always with stuff on there, so stuff's always available for me. Yeah, I mean, I don't need 2 meters high accuracy. I need, 5 centimeters. It'll increase my well-being. I don't think it will. I think it'll increase my stress levels. Now I'm going to put these back on the couch, back in my storage. Okay, I'll get a package to open. Let's open this package. Because this has got my... those RGB strips I got. As well as some other stuff. Reminds me. What does it remind you of? Dargs? Checking if there's milk in the fridge. Sensors. Right. I know someone that was working on a milk sensor for the fridge that was also a scale, so it could actually tell you how much milk was left all the time. Wouldn't it be enough just to detect if you put a reel in, not how many parts? I'm not looking at how many parts are still in it. It wouldn't be cheaper, no. This is purely for detection of the reel. And detecting the reel is the problem, because I cannot individually detect a reel if I cannot individually identify that slot. And the only way to identify that slot is to have either 100 wires going to each slot, or 100 wires out there, or have a microcontroller on every slot. So I need a sensor, whatever it is, and a microcontroller on every slot. So no, it wouldn't be cheaper. It's the same problem. The issue with all of this is the actual detection of whether the reel is there or not. Let's do it under here. I don't know why I'm not opening it. So this is from Ali, but this is from my guy at Ali. So what have I got in here? All sorts of goodies. So these are 200 3535 SK6812s. They're for my Neo 7 segments, which I'm out of. I need to build more. And then, ooh, wow. Leave it aside for the moment. There should be 3 reels here. Yep. And these ones are, yeah. So this is 5,000 of my 1515, the SK6805, EC15. These are the 1515 RGB LEDs, the ones I'm using on my tiny digit display. And I got 5,000 of them because these are also going to be on the LOL RGB on Alex tiny LED matrix, and there's a lot of LEDs on there. I mean, this is a $670 US reel, like $900 Australian for that reel of LEDs. Insane. I guess the manual system may be an audio interface. Hey Google, reel number 1 is slot 200. Oops, I shouldn't have said hey G. Yeah, I don't want to do that type of, I don't want to do voice assistant. So if I do voice recognition, I'll do custom. Got HDMI grabber from Amazon. Turns out I'm an idiot. It was USB to HDMI adapter. Oh, no way, Johnny. That sucks. Yeah, but the reel can't activate a switch. That's the problem. That's what we were discussing on the stream. I can't use a switch. A switch won't work. There's no switch on the market I can buy that will cater for every type of reel. And placement of a switch inside the reel and all that stuff. It's not possible. It's not possible. And then I've got 2 lots of the 6812 black. So these are the 5050s. 2,000 of them. As in 2 reels, because they're for my Neo 7 segments. So they're Neo 7 segments. Yay. Which I need to build. And then these are the the main project to detect is nice to have, but it's not worth doing for the productivity versus cost. I don't think it is. Yeah, I'm going to try the slot one though. So the thing with the slot is, yeah, I know. I bought some of the slots, the T slots, and we'll see. So this is the reel of, these are 72 per meter, and I think they're 2 meters here. So these are the ones I'm going to use. Well, I was going to use on my shelf before I decided I'll try the pull out and put back in, right? So if I don't do the pull out and put back in, I can still do RGB LEDs. This is the best spacing I could get. It's not ideal. As I mentioned on my stream, I'd really want to have 75 or 76 per meter would be the perfect amount I worked out. But so this is going to make the reel spaced a little bit apart. Grab a reel again. Not sure if you'll be able to see, but like, if one LED is sitting kind of where the reel is, then yeah, look, it may work, but it won't work for 12mm reels or anything. So I'd already ordered these anyway. I can definitely just put them on the shelf for now and just do a software thing. I've got a screen set up where I'm going to put it, but I'm still thinking I might switch that screen over to a touch screen. And then I can do touch and voice. If the voice doesn't work, I've got touch. I don't want to have a mouse. I've got no place to use a mouse or a keyboard, but a touch screen would work. So I could just look up a part, push a button. But then again, honestly, to be totally honest, I don't think I need any of this, because I'll know where all my parts are. I already do. Like, I don't even need labels on them. I mean, you know, just by doing the coloured reel racks, I already know where my 402s are, my 603s, whatever, right? And most of my stuff's on the pick and place machine, or it's, you know, like I've got 5 reels of 100k 0402 resistors, right? Spare reels. Like, I know where they are. You know, I don't need to push a button to have it light up to tell me where it is. I could probably find it as fast by walking up to the shelf and looking, right? So all of this is overkill, but it was an opportunity for me to put some RGB bling on my shelf. You know what I mean? Like, it's like at some point, the amount of effort and what it's going to give me back is just, yeah, like it doesn't make any sense. I don't know. Like, I'd like to build the ultimate system there, which is really cool. But it's gonna give me nothing in return in terms of productivity, right? And honestly, I'd rather spend that $1,000 on another conveyor if I can fit one in. I can't use limit switches, Nikhil. Yeah, I covered that on my stream on Wednesday. There's no place to stick limit switches. There's no place to stick normal switches. I can't do a lever on the bottom of the, like, 3D print that goes down, that pushes a switch. None of those things are a possibility, right? Like, at the end of the stream on Wednesday, like, it was very hard for me not to lose my cool. Yeah, like, I'd rather put all this effort into fixing some of my production line, like, from start to finish, which I'll get to in a sec. Like, there's no way that a limit switch that is good enough to push down a full reel will also push down a reel that's only got a third of the parts left on it, because it's like the amount of grams we're talking about is tiny. You didn't notice, Rob? Well, it was getting a bit much. Like, I'm used to my streams where people tell me what I should or shouldn't be doing, right? Like, I'm fine with that. I really am. And I try to be as polite as possible, but it was getting a bit much on Wednesday. Oh, I put Bruce to sleep. Sorry. A standoff. Oh, what? This might be a dumb question and unrelated to conversation. Does anyone know? There's this a magnetic standoff. For the top or the bottom of the pie? You mean for the bottom, like feet? Yeah, everyone's guessing it shouldn't be a hard problem, but it is a hard problem. You know, and once again, people are looking at the specific thing, like put a switch, you could use a switch, blah, 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 but not necessarily looking at, well, how does that fit in the reel rack, and what knock-on effects does that have? Like, how does that get wired? Am I going to sit there hand soldering hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of wires? How much space does it need, and how much rack space will I lose on the shelf if I have to lose an extra 5 or 6 millimeters per reel because of the switch size, and suddenly I can only get 70 reels on the shelf instead of 100 because I'm using a switch that isn't the right thing. Like, you know what I mean? Hey, Crazy Roops, hello. That's okay. Better late than never. Yay! Is the mission of the feature worth it or not? Can you do it? Well, I know I can do it. It just has to be done, right? Like, I know exactly how I do it now, like using the time of flight sensor. Like, I've already got the PCB design in my head, right? Not a problem. The issue now just becomes is it really worthwhile? Beyond building one of them or two of them just to say, hey, look, this works as a concept, to ratify my idea, No, it doesn't make any sense to actually do it. I don't think so. I have a wall of thermometers and clocks, and I need every one of them. Sure. Yeah. I'm going to play around with this slot sensor, just because it's considerably cheaper. Like, it would shave $3.50-ish per board if I did that. Webcam machine vision reduces your wiring count. Well, okay, that's another option, except I don't think... So I could do it through vision. I'm not sure the vision would be good enough with a webcam. Like, you'd need a really high res, because it would have to be on the other side of the room looking at the rack, right? And it would only work when, you know, the pick and place doors were closed and whatever else. But sure, I could technically detect if there's a part missing or not. I don't know how, but it would still need to... There are ways of doing that as well. But then we're talking about a Raspberry Pi or more on the other side of the room with a camera facing there. The lighting would be very specific. I think the angle of the camera, like the lens, would be potentially a problem. But that's another way of doing it, right? You know, it could also be sensors from the top, not inside the reel, like in the reel rack, right? It could just be, I could make one strip of PCB above, like a thick bar, bus bar, that has my 100 traces, and I don't have to worry about a microcontroller. And I could just have, with a sensor pointing down, right, and just use my RGB strip at the front. I mean, I could do that as well. There are lots of ways I could do this. It's just a matter of picking one and doing it if I think it's really worthwhile. But yeah, like, so back to production. So I'd rather look at how I'm going to improve things like my stenciling. So my stenciling is really good, but it's still the deciding factor of whether I get a good result at the end of the reflow or not, right? So it's one thing when I'm sitting here and I align and stencil up one board, one panel, right? When I'm sitting here and trying to stencil up a bunch of panels, and I've got a paste time limit, and I've got pick and place running, and I need to get boards through, and I've got thousands to make, the pace at which I need to paste, I end up not getting consistent pasting, right? Alignment is not a problem. My jigs, as archaic as they are, I don't get alignment problems. What I get is I'll paste a board up, and I look under the microscope on every board that I paste, which takes time. But I often miss little things, especially around the edges. And like I had a board. This is a close example. It's my microscope. Let me see if I can get my microscope working. No promises. I don't even know where my HDMI is. This might not reach, sorry. Okay, I'll show you what happened yesterday. Please, microscope, please. Oh, it's got my shelf cam. Why is it not? Oh, here we go. Yep. Yay. Yay. Okay. So this happened on my third panel I pasted yesterday because I was fighting with the pick and place machine. Hey, Kyle. And I wasn't paying enough attention. Right? Look at this board. There's a whole bunch of paste that didn't go through the... Upside down. So you see there? And I didn't notice it. I didn't notice it till after it came out of the oven. Like the parts fell off. Like it pick and placed them, but there was no paste. Right? So, like stuff like that happens because hopefully that won't, when I don't have to fight the pick and place machine, then maybe I can focus more on the stenciling. But getting a consistent paste every single time on panels and not being able to make bigger panels because I can't paste. Yeah, like this board needs a complete rework. I'll do it another time. Like it's missing paste on the CP204. There's a couple of pins on the D4. They're up there on the RAM. That's almost not pasted. The USB. Okay, it's, you know, the charge IC. It doesn't matter, right? Like the fact is, big deal. The board's fixable, or I just don't bother fixing it, right? It's one board. But right now I'm limited to building, you know, my panels this size. Sorry. I can only build my panels this size because I can only hand paste panels this size. So there's 15 tiny picos on a panel here. Imagine, and the amount of time it takes me to pull this out and paste it and put it into the pick and place machine, and then obviously pick and placing and then reflow. If this had twice as many boards on it, apart from how long it takes to pick and place, which I don't have to do, the machine does, right? The rest of the process takes exactly the same amount of time. But I could get double the yield. I could get double the boards out in the same amount of time if I could paste a bigger board, but I can't manually paste a bigger board. So, and it's about consistency of the paste. So I'd love to have a way of improving my pasting, but I don't. There's no simple solution there, right? What's Kuka doing? Like Adafruit's mini magnet feet. Ah, right. Yeah, I haven't seen smaller feet than those ones. So yeah, so my options are, I got there's four options. There's a manual stenciling system that uses frame stencils, where they're more about alignment, because at the end of the day I still have to manually paste, right? So that doesn't solve the problem, and those are about $500, and I have to go frame stencils, so that then becomes a cost of getting all my stencils redone, and then a storage issue of where I store my stencils, because they're big and they take a lot of space, and I'm space limited. The next step is to do a semi-automatic stenciling system, which you align it on the machine. How many? Do you all know what a semi-automatic stenciling? Let me see if I can. I mean, Neoden's one's a little bit expensive. I can definitely get them. I can get the same thing cheaper. Oh well, I can't believe that Neoden America is still showing the S1. Wow, that is really bad. Anyway, they've probably got some in stock. That's why. So you get something like, so these are the manual ones, right? So interestingly, Neoden have one that doesn't use stencil frames. So this doesn't use frames, this particular one, right? It's frameless. And I thought, awesome. But the problem is these need custom stencils. The stencils have to have these holes down the side here that grip it, custom drilled. Could use your 3D printer for paste application. No. I need super fine pitch. I need, 0.4 millimeter super fine, tiny pitch. Yeah, no. That wouldn't work. So I had to rule that one out, right? And then, but they've also got their framed ones like this. The framed ones are cheaper. But again, you still have to manually paste it. Once you've aligned the PCB and you've put it down, there's no better photos, right? Once you put it down, the issue for me is not the alignment. The issue is the consistent pasting and make sure every pad's pasted right, and not over pasting the QFN by being too heavy-handed to make sure that everything's pasted right. Like consistency is a problem. So the next then step is, okay, well, you go to what's called a semi-automatic. I'm not sure what the difference is between the two of these, right? But you jump up, I mean, that's $6,500 US. You can buy them cheaper. I could probably get one directly from China for, $4,500. But still, it's $4,500. And what you do, this is still a manual alignment, but then an automatic paste. So you get the same consistent paste every time, right? But you have to put each PCB in manually and align it, which not necessarily a problem because, technically if you're using the pins on the PCB, it should be the same every time, right? But that's super expensive. Yeah, doing a paste dispenser, unless it's a super high-end pasting dispenser machine that can do, micron level pasting, you can't do the pitch. I mean, there are machines out there that can do dot pasting, but they're $100,000, and that's the problem. So the semi-automatic is one way of going. That would give me consistent paste every time, but I'm still manually putting the boards in, right? So it doesn't speed me up necessarily. It gives me a better, but it gives me a better consistency and a better yield, right? And then the next step from that is a fully automatic machine, like what Adafruit use, where you've got a PCB loader and it loads a PCB in on a conveyor, it aligns it itself, right? It pushes it stencil down, it pastes it, lifts it up, and it goes off. Now that would be the ideal, but last time I looked, entry price is like 30 grand, and I don't, that's going to cost me more than the pick and place machine, or the same as a pick and place machine. And it makes total sense if I was doing 1,000 boards a day and I needed to be doing every day 1,000 boards indefinitely. That would make sense, but that's not the case. I get a burst of, I've got 3,000 tiny picos to make for crowd supply. I've got 1,000 to make for myself. So a bit of news, I picked up Pi Moroni for my Feather S2s. They've put their first order in. They've ordered 100 Feather S2s, which is ace, except I can't fulfill it because I've got no PCBs. They're finished. JLC PCB, hopefully they'll ship tomorrow or today. But I'm already out. I don't have enough PCBs coming in that batch to cover all the orders. So today I got to put in another order of PCBs. Anyway, and that's, again, I've only got 8, so there's only 8 feathers per panel. If I could get 12 feathers per panel, right, I could get 50% more PCBs on the same order, right, or 50, because I order 50 panels at a time. That's the sweet spot with JLC PCB. But I can't paste them. They're too big. I can't manually paste them. So there's this, right? I need to solve this. I need to solve bagging. Bagging takes ages. Getting a bag, printing stickers, getting a bag, sticking the sticker on, opening it up, sticking a card in, sticking the, header pins in there, sticking the board and some silica gel and closing the bag up and putting it aside to be counted later. That takes time. And you got to also concentrate. There's nothing worse than getting a bag shipped to you and it's missing some of the parts. So, there's that. There's the cleaning, right? Right now I'm cleaning all my board edges on my... I've got I worked out how to do it well on my belt sander. So I'm not there's no more knife with scraping. Sounds like I need an employee. Well, yes and no, because hiring an employee to do that type of work it's shit work, right? If it wasn't shit work, I wouldn't be trying to solve it. Employing someone to sit there stuffing bags, that's not a fun job. I don't know. Anyway, so my pulling the boards apart and cleaning the edges is faster. I noticed that every board I get from everywhere else, they don't have cleaned edges. Like my last, I opened up some boards from Adafruit, no clean edges. Like I seem to be the only one that cleans the edges of the child labour. So, yeah, maybe I should just stop cleaning the edges. I don't know. Like, I feel really bad. I hate them. That's not true. So the ones I get, like, Espresso's boards have got clean edges. But, yeah. You think I can skip cleaning the edges? I don't know. Yeah, I hate when they're not clean. I really hate. You can tell straight away. As soon as you pick the board up, you can feel it on your fingers. So I really don't think I can do it. Yeah, I don't think I can. I'm just going to turn it off. Microscope's going. And then obviously there's ultrasonic cleaning, which takes time. Clean them, dry them, and then the testing, lots of testing takes time. Yeah. I'll never stop cleaning the edges. Every time I decide I'm not going to clean the edges anymore, I go back and I clean the edges. Every time. So, there's a lot of steps. I mean, the pick and place solves only one of them. And, I look at everyone's production lines and, like, they're just such a massive investment. And I don't have the space. I don't have the space here to do an automated stenciling system because it needs to sit, if it's automated, it needs to sit in the front of the line and I don't have room, right? I've not seen conveyors that turn corners that I can use. I'm sure they exist somewhere, but I don't have access to conveyors that can go up and down like a snake. And the semi-automated one, it doesn't have to sit at the front of the machine, it can sit anywhere. And that might be my next step, but it's a huge investment. It's about $8,000 Australian. All so smooth. It's about presentation. I don't know. I don't expect stuff like that from China, but I expect it from other people. And I get disappointed when I receive boards that don't have it. Like, I'll be honest. Like, I feel like... Well, it depends how messy it is, right? If it's not messy, but it's not straight, I guess that's okay. But the fact is, JLC PCB's V-scoring is terrible, right? It's not consistent, and sometimes I can't even break an edge off. If the PCBs were V-scored properly and consistently, from a good PCB manufacturer, then maybe I could separate them all and never have to clean the edges. But when I separate my boards, I get really filthy edges. Like, I get worse edges than some of the boards I get delivered as a final product to me that have non-straight edges. That they're not, you can clearly tell they've not been cleaned, but they don't look gnarly. Mine look gnarly, right? And that's because of JLC PCB's terrible V-scoring. Now, could I start getting my PCBs from somewhere else, get better quality PCBs that break apart better and not have to pull them apart and clean them? Would that even itself out in terms of cost? Well, possibly. But I'd have to invest a lot to find out, because the next step up price-wise on PCB manufacturing for me to go there is triple the price for my PCBs. So, I have to look at how much am I really spending per PCB cleaning a board. Like, I do them in chunks and it takes me ages and it feels like, oh my God, why am I doing this? It's like, this takes me so long. But the fact is, I might sit there and do 150 boards. And if I work it out to a per board cost, it might be negligible. Or it is, you know what I mean? Like, I've been trying to work out how long does one board take from me picking up the stencil and pulling a panel out to me putting this board in a bag, how long did this one board take me, right? No, the nanos are worse. The nanos are won't even go into the nanos. That's the other thing. Pimaroni, they also want to stock my nano, and I said no to them at the moment. I don't want to bulk manufacture my nanos. I'll bring that one up again in a sec, Rob. Yeah, the mouse bites are not. I don't think they're easy to clean personally. I think that they need as much care when I pull them apart. And again, part of that is because JLC PCB don't allow you to do super fine mouse bites like other companies do, right? Like I've seen some mouse bites where the holes are so close together, like the amount of copper between, the amount of FR4 between the holes is so small you can almost not see it unless you look under the microscope. And they can like break off, and they are really awesome. Like you don't have to clean them. But JLC PCB won't do that. Their minimum space they want between the holes is massive. And that's because their systems are not good enough to not break the panels when they're manufacturing them. And that I've got that in writing from them. They consider themselves a prototyping house, not a production house. And so they, like if I make a board with higher resolution mouse bites and the board breaks during production for them, they won't cover it. They say it's my fault. Yeah, but the difference, okay, that's a problem. The next step up for, we're not talking about PCBWay, by the way, and PCBWay is more than 2 times the price of JLC PCB. For my boards, they're more than 2 times. Plus their shipping is 30% more expensive. I don't know why. The DHL shipping. But PCBWay, like I would still be looking at going somewhere higher, like Kingston or the place that Greg Davil uses. And I got a quote from Kingston, and they are a production-only PCB house. Like they, you can't go to them and get 50 panels made. Well, yeah, I don't know. Maybe if you begged or you paid it through your nose, like you know what I mean. Like they're a full-on production house, and I got a quote from them, and it was 5.5 times the price of JLC PCB. My PCBs per PCB would have cost me 5.5 times, and that adds like over $1 US per cost per board, and I don't even know what I'm going to get for that, because the only way I can find out is to order off them. Yeah, I don't know if I want to use PCBWay. Like, I used to use PCBWay before JLC PCB. I've had hit and miss with PCBWay as well, like in the past. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, it's a problem. But so I'm trying to work out how long each board takes me to do. And every time I try to work it out, I end up with a range. But yeah, I haven't quite got it yet. Like I don't know. I'd be curious. But I'm pretty sure that the cost per board is less. Not less. What was I going to say? Lost my train of thought. I'm pretty sure that paying 3 times the price for the PCB is not going to be cheaper than me pulling them apart and cleaning them. I think pulling them apart and cleaning them is still works out per board cheaper. I still have to ultrasonically clean it anyway. Does that large price difference come down with the number of boards you're ordering? Well, not for the quantities I'm ordering, no, because I would never commit to doing. I'd never commit to doing more than 100 panels at a time, ever, because I change my designs. Point was sponsored, as in free PCBs. Yeah, I've spoken to PCBWay heaps, like Dewey Lane, and I know the guys down there. Like I went and visited them when I was in China, in Shenzhen. What PCBWay offer. Like, I know they did that big stuff with Bitloonie, which was great, but maybe for one-offs they might do stuff, but I don't want a one-off of PCBs for production. I want consistent production whenever I need it, right? Anyway, so I change my designs too often, which is one of the main reasons I manufacture myself. Like, I want the flexibility of changing my designs. I want the flexibility of being able to, of not being stuck with a revision of boards, either assembled or even PCBs, that I end up not using because I need to change a design aspect of it. And remember, because I'm manufacturing myself and I'm not using suitable equipment, whatever, that it's a journey. I'm constantly tweaking my design for manufacture, not design of the board, but design, like manufacturing capabilities of the board to improve yield, right? Changing pad sizes, changing stencil opening sizes, changing all sorts of things on the boards to, like, every time if I see a consistent issue with reflowing, pasting and reflowing a particular part over subsequent panels, I will look at that and go, okay, how can I improve that? Like, what's happening with this part? What's if I increased the pad size of this point here, or reduced the pad size, or changed its shape? Will that reflow better? And if that reflows better, will I have to rework it less, right? And I can then go and order a new set of panels with a changed design. And that I can do that myself because I'm manufacturing myself and I'm ordering in small batches. And worst case scenario is I might not use 25 panels, right? But if I've got to go to Kingston and the only way to get the right price is to order 1,000 panels, like 15,000 Tiny Pico boards, I'd never commit to 15,000 Tiny Pico boards in one hit, because I'll probably end up changing my design before I've gone through, 30 of the panels, maybe. The same reason why I won't manufacture in China. The only way it's cost effective for me to manufacture in China, because I can't go to the bottom tier manufacturing for what I'm doing, is I need to do bulk. Like, I need to make 5,000 or more at a time, and I don't want 5,000 Tiny Picos here where I'm stuck on a particular design. Apart from all the other reasons, right? So, yeah, I'm kind of stuck using JLC PCB. Like, every time I try to break away from it, I just can't. It just never happens. I always come back to the fact that I'm stuck using them. So it's about seeing what else I can improve. I need to breathe. And my coffee's cold. That shows you how cold it is in here right now. Like, I've got goosebumps everywhere. My coffee's... I didn't even get halfway through before it got cold. So, yeah, my nanos. So my nano yield right now is 100%, but the amount of rework per panel is like 80%. And I'm hoping that will change with my N8. Fingers crossed. Because if it doesn't, I'm in trouble. So the problem with the nanos is it's high temp paste, right? And I think I mentioned this, or like on my last video or whatever, where the lack of accuracy of the charm high means that I'm nudging too many parts and I'm having problems reflowing them after I've nudged them. And to rework them is taking me ages, because I need to use the hot plate, and it's not the same where I can just whack it on my desk with a hot air and, tweak, because of the temperature of the paste. So right now, the amount of time it takes me to make a panel of nanos is not worth me making them. Like, I'm selling them, and people, have been buying, but I don't know. Like, if I really sat down and looked at how much I'm making per nano, I don't know if I'm making anything per nano. I'm definitely not making enough to sell them wholesale as it is right now with my manufacturing. Like, they're a complete loss leader if I was to give Palmaroni a wholesale price for them to be able to make money off them to sell them. I'm actually thinking of upping the price of mine on my store, but I don't want to stop making them. There are people using them, there are people designing projects around them, which was the whole point. So I don't want to abandon them, and I'm hoping that the N8 will give me better placement, which will give me better reflow, which will mean less rework. But I still got the same problem with stenciling, where a panel of nanos is 20 boards, and without getting perfectly consistent stenciling every time, I've got a lot more rework. There are more boards that can go wrong on a nano than on a Tiny Pico, for instance, or on a, Feather S2 panel, there's only 8. There's less boards that can go wrong over that scope. And the Nano panel is slightly bigger. Like, it's about as big as what I can do by hand with a stencil. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting journey going forward. Like, I'm clearly not shy of investing in this process. But I really don't want to invest on things that aren't the right thing anymore. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah. Like, would a bag labeling system help me? I don't know. I'd have to move to different bags. I'd have to use those continuous bags like Adafruit use. I wouldn't be able to do necessarily color labels. I don't know, maybe not. So like Adafruit now require me to stick their label on each bag as well as my label. So I have to print 2 different labels, which are 2 different sizes. So 2 different sets of, you know what I mean? I'm using my inkjet, my printer over there, doing sheets of labels. So it takes time to print them and peel them off and put them on. Crowd Supply now want me to stick their labels as well on. I don't get paid for this, by the way. Like, it's a requirement now for me to deliver, is that I can not put my label on, but I have to put their label on. So, I'm now sticking 2 labels per bag. So I couldn't automate that because they're 2 different labels. I'd need to run the bags through 2 different label printers. But the way they label, the bag labeling systems work is that they label as the bag comes, or the ones I've seen, the bag comes out, it's labeled and opened, and then you put the part in, and then it goes through the sealer, right? I can't do that because I need to insert cards. I need to insert other things into them. Like, yeah. Maybe I could get all my bags pre-done in China. I don't know. That might be something I can do, Order bags and they come with the cards in them and the labels already on them. But I would have thought that just the weight alone of shipping those back would be more expensive than, I don't know. Can you outsource the bag labeling? And hex, that's what I could. I don't know where I'd do that. I definitely couldn't outsource it in Australia. Like, it would be horrifically expensive. Like, everything in Australia is 50 times the price of what I could get overseas. So, and by the way, hello Mello, when ordering 1,000 panels off Kingsun, the panels are still double the price of JLC PCB. Like, no one will give me the same price as JLC PCB. Like, it's not even close. So it's not a matter of if I order enough, can I get it at the same price? Like, it would still cost me, it'd still be double the investment. So I'm missing chat. Graham, your presentation and packaging is notably better than most of the stuff I get. Thank you, but is that needed? I don't know. Like, I can't ship anything less. I myself, I don't have it in me, but I'm aware of the fact that it's unnecessary. Like, do I need my Tiny Pico bags and Feather S2 bags to look like they do? Could it just be an anti-static bag with a board inside it, with blah, 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 with a card, printed card or not, whatever. Do I have to stick a color label on the front? Do I have to stick a label at all? I don't know. Like, my cards have got Feather S2 on it, right? If the card's inside and you can see Feather S2, does it need an outside label? Well, maybe not. But I just feel like I can't do it. I don't know. It's like I'm disappointed in myself if I don't do it. I don't necessarily do it so people look at it and go, sorry, I shouldn't say wow. I don't do it so people look at it and have an opinion on what they got. I do it for me. Like, it's the minimum that I would ever want to send anything out as, if that makes sense. I'm my own worst enemy. 100% my own worst enemy, for sure. Okay, I'm rambling. Well, I wouldn't say unnecessary. I think the overall perceived quality product gets noticed. Yeah, I don't know if it translates to retention of customers. My aim isn't really People do go wow. Really? I don't know. Like, I don't know if they would go wow on packaging with electronics. Okay, I don't know. Maybe they do. I don't know. Yeah, and it's not about retention, and it's not even about maybe it's about quality. I don't know. Like, it's for the same reason I won't ship a board without cleaning the edges of it or without ultrasonically cleaning it. Like, every board I get from China is not ultrasonically cleaned, and I'm pretty sure that some of the boards I've had from Adafruit have not been ultrasonically cleaned. Maybe that was a mistake. I don't know. But like, I just can't do that. It's just yeah, I couldn't do it. Okay, I'm waffling about a whole lot of stuff that I want to talk about. I want to know what you guys want me to talk about. So, this is open forum. Ask me anything you want to ask me. Your packaging showed that I care for details. Thanks, John. Well, I do care for details, but maybe too much. That's the thing. Am I caring too much about details? Like, ultrasonically cleaning the board is not just about making it look nice, but it's about longevity of the board. Okay, leaving flux on the board is not good for the board. Bottom line, doesn't matter what flux it is, no clean, don't care what anyone says. Leaving flux on the board is bad for the board, especially when the board goes to different climates. Like, you send a board to somewhere that's got a very high humidity and high moisture climate, like near the tropics, and that flux will grow mold, right? It will. You take a board and put it in a very cold, extremely cold climate, and that flux could crystallize. So it's got to be cleaned for longevity of the board, but also just looks bad, right? But the edges makes no difference on the usability of the board, right? It doesn't affect it climate-wise, doesn't affect its longevity, doesn't affect anything other than cosmetics. So, like, maybe I'm being too detailed. Yeah, you know what I mean. Good quality package to how much the creator, engineers, management care about their product. Sure. Which is why I look at it and go, I can't send this out any less than this. Right? But that's me. That's my thing, not necessarily... That's not me worried about what someone else is going to think. It's me worried about what I think about the product. Did you get anywhere looking at those design your IC things? So I did, actually. What I got to was the fact that their website and tool is shocking. And let me see if I can... See if I can show you. Okay, so the company's called Zglue, however they pronounce it, and it's a web-based tool, and it just kept crashing on me and kept blocking me, and I couldn't work in it, and it was doing my head in. So you got the chip builder, and also they don't have parts. The parts that I would want to use, they don't have them. Why is it not showing me my login? Oh, here we go. It's definitely an interesting process. So I started working on a Nano 2. I don't know why I called it a Nano 2. I was just playing around with some of the different parts they've got. But they don't have... It's a chip builder. Is this a new version? I thought the last version I used was 2. Maybe they've fixed some things. I don't know. Oh, see, there you go. So, open a project. Right. It's very slow. It's Chrome only. well, it's definitely not Safari. I don't know about Firefox. I don't use Firefox on the Mac, and it's really slow. And then so okay, let's say I want to look for a so I've got an LDO there, and I've got an NRF. Let's say I want to put a switch. So I click on switch, right? Okay, analog switch. I don't know. No, I don't want to put a switch. Let's try something else. Come on, someone come up with something. I don't know. Maybe battery management. Let's see what they've got in battery management. So I click on PMIC, and look at this, right? Okay, it takes a while. Comes up, battery charge. So the stuff's not in alphabetical order, which is ridiculous. You know how hard it is to find a part when things aren't in alphabetical order? Okay, my computer's going to take off. Let's see if I can find anything I can recognize. So I can go, like, I want to search, right? So I can't click on it. Oh, now I can click on it. Right? It's just MCP. What's the one they use? What's Adafruit use? 7. No, MCP. It's already gone. See, nothing. There's nothing MCP. TP. Is there any top power? Like, it's just really. It's terrible. Like, it's really just impossible to use. Let's go back to PMIC. And let's say you do find something, right? I'll just pick anything, battery charger, I don't care which one. Let's just find let's try this, right? So I click on that. And I'm waiting. Oh, there we go. So, like, look at this. Like, I'm hovering, not hovering. Like, I want to add it. Hello? Like, this is just impossible to use. Oh! See that? I click on it. Try again. Oh! Oh, there we go. It's added something. Like, this is just impossible. Like, anyway. Like, it recognized my click again just then. Like, I just want to move it. Look at this. Like, it's impossible to use. Now, I don't know if it's a Mac thing or not. I don't have anything else to use it on. And I got so frustrated with it. And I just, no. And I felt like emailing them, and I thought, well, there's no point, because I'm not going to use the tool right now. It doesn't have any of the parts I need. So it uses chiplets, which are a version of the fabbed product that the manufacturer can provide, that is the part that isn't inside the outer plastic, whatever stuff is, the black, whatever it is, right? Can't possibly be a Mac thing. Like, it's impossible to use. It really is impossible to use. And then when you go to edit something, like what I found was I'd go to edit some properties of something, and then it wouldn't let me save it. And I'd get locked in the UI, and I couldn't get out of the UI, and I had to refresh the page to get out of it. Right, it does only support Chrome. Yeah, well, not very well. Definitely not on a Mac. But yeah, so the requirement is that it can only support parts that the manufacturer will provide in a chiplet form, which means no expressive, no whole bunch of stuff. And then even if the manufacturer will supply it in chiplet form, unless it's been added to the system, it's not available. And yeah, it's just... Oh, Dave's going. Catch you later, Dave. You saying bye to this stream or bye to using this app? Are they not using WebKit Chrome? Not using WebKit anymore? Or have they forked their own thing? It's not the die. It's a... Yeah, it's called a chiplet. I'm not sure exactly. From my understanding, because the die is the die is without the what are they called? Oh my god, I'm having a mental blank. The die is the inner of a PC of an IC that doesn't have the interconnects that goes to the pins. A chiplet is the die with a different interface that, for instance, like BGA, for instance, where like normally a part wouldn't have these little pads on the bottom to spread out to the pins of an IC. Bond wires, thank you. Right, the die would have the access to the bond wires on the outside of it that would go off to the pins. This is a chiplet or whatever, I don't know if that's their term or the manufacturer's term, I don't know, is the die or the part with a slightly different interface that then can be mounted via like BGA, like that, right? Google calls it Blink. Really? Blink. So if they forked WebKit and then massacred it, WebKit to Chromium. Was Chromium? I don't think Chromium was WebKit. Well, I thought Chromium sat on top of WebKit. I don't know. I'm out of the browser stuff. I don't care. Browsers. Anyway, so I gave up. Like, I was going to make a video about this, but it was unusable. And I didn't want to make a video bagging them. And let's face it, it's probably a very intense app that needs a lot of grunt. I'm running this on an 8-core i9 with, I've got a lot of memory. How much memory do I have? I can't remember. Can't remember how much memory I've got, but it's a lot. I got 72 gig of RAM. I've got a Radeon Pro 5700 XT, 16 gig of DDR RAM, and an 8-core i9, right? And it can't run this app. Now, there are clearly people using this app, but maybe under Mac. Maybe they don't test it on the Mac, I don't know. So that's why I gave up on that. I didn't want to bag them, because I'm not really going to use it, because it doesn't have the parts I want anyway. So this is still range finding. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot. I know what those negative numbers are on the display. Let me show you something. I just worked it out. I just worked out why these numbers are all stuffed. Oh, Xeon. I think. Where's my code? Yeah, overflow. Yeah, it's. I think someone mentioned that earlier. Maybe I can't remember. I remember seeing overflow somewhere. Yeah, I reckon I'm just using an int. I bet you I'm just using an int, and I need something bigger. But I can't find. Where's my code? Yeah, I'm just using an int 8 because I'm an idiot. I want it to be signed. Let's just use an int. That should then just use whatever size I need, right? Let's reflash it. Dude, where's my code? Code is hard. Code is hard when you're a Xeon, being an idiot. I was just hacking this together last night just to get it working. Let's reflash it, see what happens. I can see the right values on the serial output. I should have known better. Okay, it's flashing. There we go. No more negative numbers. Yay. Didn't even see that. Oh, I'm an idiot. Whoever said overflow earlier and I didn't do it, didn't respond, I apologize. I just got a link from Brian to something on Tindy. Whoa, that's ugly. Hang on, just 1 second. I'm just chatting with Brian Locke. No, Tindy, not Tinder. He just sent me this link. It's a Mega 328 micro controller board. Arduino Uno alternative. But look at it. Holy moly. Yeah. That's ugly. I'm writing to Brian. Yeah, that's pretty oh my god, look at that. Look at the flux. Sorry, I'm gonna paste the link in chat. Holy moly. So the headers aren't even soldered on properly over here. Like if you're going to take photos, look at the resistor. And what is that? Fluff. Oh my gosh. Maybe a beginner. Sorry, I shouldn't laugh. It's a level of care. I don't know. Is that even soldered on that pad? And look, why has he got solder inside? Well, that cancellation. They're not even real cancellations. They're just plated through holes that have been cut. I don't know where he got them made from, but see the edges aren't castellated properly? They are a bitch to solder. Oh, wow. Anyway, okay. Sorry. I don't want to, yeah, I don't like bagging people. But that is, well, it's called simple electronics. Should I invite Brian to the stream? I didn't invite anyone else to the stream. The first live stream I did, Patron live stream, I invited some other people, just some other maker people, but I didn't invite anyone this time. But no, I won't. This is just for patrons. Direct solder. I want to see the back of the board. Because how do you direct solder it when you've got through hole? Like you can see here, it's not sitting flat down here. It's not sitting flat. How would you directly solder it? Yeah. Oh well. But hopefully he'll learn and improve it. I feel bad. Okay, I'll stop. So, what else, folks? What else would you like to know? I still can't get my Raspberry Pi and that camera working, which is frustrating. But that Raspberry Pi is actually from a test jig. I need to build more test jigs. I did submit the... Congratulate me, I hired a new developer today, a female one. Well done. Awesome. Diversity plus. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? Sorry, it's a monthly Python quote. You said ask you anything. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that though. Where's Mark? Are you working Mark so hard, Johnny, that he's not joining the stream today? Or is he gone? Is he away? I'm just pinging him now. I do remember that, but not the answer. How's the LCSC scraping going? Yeah, does everyone know? Maybe not everyone knows. Let's find out. Let's have a look at the server. That's a good question. No, he's busy. He was here earlier. Okay. All good. You're working him too hard, Johnny. My parts will be updated after. After the N8's in. No, when the N8's in and goes into production, I've got so much production to do. LCSC killed my connection. They do that occasionally. I am hammering them a bit. Yes, so I am, as part of my parts. So my parts automatically scrapes data from LCSC as people go to add an LCSC part that's never been added before. But I have been... I decided to just pre-scrape all of their parts anyway. Because, why not? So, I have scraped 250,446 parts. Oops. 250,000 parts I've scraped from them so far. You can see it scraping in the background. If I refresh this now, so that was 446, it's now 453. Yeah, so the point of me pre-scraping it all is, firstly, it means the data's already there, so it doesn't have to be scraped real time. But there's so much bad data from LCSC. There's just so many conflicts and spelling mistakes and all sorts of stuff that I can't... I keep patching my scraping system to fix them after they've come in, which is kind of already too late, but for the next time. So, and then there's more and more coming all the time, and so the only way I'm ever going to be on top of it all is just to scrape all the data and fix it. And then it's there. Yeah, absolutely, Johnny. I think it's awesome that you're getting Mark to help you. Really, really good. Yeah. I've got to head into work. If you ever near Fed Square. Do you work at Acme? I know Acme very well, mate. I used to spend a lot of time at Acme when I was doing VFX stuff and games. So VFX first and then games. Yeah, I spent a lot of time at Acme. I didn't know you worked there. We also have mutual friends. I'm sure we do. So what do you do at Acme? I know you got to go to work, but what do you do at Acme? For those that don't know, Acme is the Australian Centre for Moving Images. It's a government-funded extravaganza in our Federation Square. And there are theatres there, and they hold conferences and shows and like galleries about, like when they do the history of games stuff, they have it there and whatever, all sorts of stuff. Lots of new content. Acme.net.au, yeah. Right, Acme also, different Acme, but they also do all the Roadrunner equipment, which is true. Yeah, does anyone actually know what that stands for in Roadrunner? I always wanted to know. I'm sure there's got a name. I know it's just a generic thing, but I was always curious. Anyway, so this is scraping. This is what I'm scraping all the my parts data, all the LCSC data. They claim they've got over 400,000 parts, so yeah, it's taking a while. This has been going for weeks and weeks. Because I can't hit it. Like, I've got to be careful how often I hit it, or they block me. Or they temporarily block me. Yeah. So at some point, I haven't checked in a couple of days. Sometime the last couple of days, they timed me out. And it's been sitting there not scraping, which is really annoying. Anyway, Dogs, have a great day at work. And yeah, now that lockdown's almost over, maybe we can catch up for lunch one day. That'd be really cool. I'll come and visit. And thanks for joining the stream. Yay. Okay. So what else can we talk about, folks? My parts is a tough one. I just don't have the headspace. Like, I'm tinkering on stuff, but I don't. Some of the things that I want to implement next or get out, they need a good solid, like, you know, week and a half of my time, like just coding and focusing. Because the key with my parts for me is anything I push out, I don't want it to destroy anyone's data. So far, apart from a couple of people that asked to get their data stomped and so they could re-import it, I've been able to not kill anyone's data, which has been great. And I don't want to kill anyone's data, which means it takes me a lot longer to push updates out to verify and check stuff. And I don't have the headspace for it. Like, I'm just, yeah. And my yield on the channel high is pretty bad right now. Like, yesterday I only got 4 panels made. I did have one day where I got 120. So yeah, 120 boards done, so 8 panels. But I've had, you know, like, I could only get 4 out of it yesterday. It was just, the placements were shocking, and it's good. Every day is different. I got the UF2 bootloader to work. Yes, people were playing with it last night. It turned out to be, so there was a fix that was missing. For some reason, my local repo was just, no matter what I did, it wouldn't build it properly. I couldn't fix it. I ended up just killing it and recloning my fork, and then it worked. And so it got rid of the wrong partitioning, because there was a fix for it, but it just wasn't, for some reason, when I rebased, it just wasn't picking up that fix. And I rebased again and again and again, and I could see it in the list, but it just wasn't working. But I deleted it, I recloned it, and it worked. I pushed the new files up, and people were installing it, but that fix, I didn't realize, had changed the address space of where it was writing the final, the UF2, the ESP32S2 UF2.bin. And I didn't realize that, I didn't notice. And so people were installing the new files, but at the wrong address, and it wasn't kicking in when it booted. No, I'll blame me. I just don't know how to use Git properly, clearly. So once I changed the address and people reinstalled it, was working properly. Yeah, so that's all fixed now. The correct files and the correct ESP tool command is on the website, on the FeatherS2 website. I'm glad I got that out of the way, although there are a few people I have to email. I've gotten better at Git by breaking things and learning how to fix them, but sometimes I just can't fix them. Sometimes I just don't understand what's going on, and it's easy to kill it off. And with it, you know, the fact is, if it's a fork and you've been pushing your changes back, then, I mean, unless you've pushed your bad changes, you know, just killing your local repository and re-pulling it down is nice and easy. Yes, I know you did. Did you? So did you fork my version to do that, or did you just fork the main tiny UF2 or whatever it was called back then to do it? Because you could always put that. You could always put a pull request in there for that. For, you know. Although they'll probably want you to do it for all the boards. And did you do it, like, you'll need to use the detect to see if the LED is defined and stuff. But hey John, yeah, you made it. Wicked, welcome. Yeah, so for those who don't know, Bruce added a feature where it flashes the Featherist 2, just the IO13 blue LED. It flashes that when you need to push boot. Right, but did you check that if defined pin LED, then use it? Otherwise, it won't work on boards that don't have an LED. But you should look at putting that, putting a pull request in. So I still haven't finished that. I still have to add APA support for the stage 2 bootloader where it goes purple. Hey, Stephen. That's okay. It's less of a problem of you forgetting than of me forgetting. Okay, yeah. I need to do the stage 2 bootloader, but that has to be bit banged. And again, I just don't have the time to sit there and do it, unfortunately. I tried getting CMake to recognize my APA lib that I made, but it just won't do it. When you've got CMake, the CMake list where you add all your different sources, when you've got a CMake talking to a CMake, talking to a CMake, talking to a CMake, I can't get that chain to work. I can't work out where to put my stuff to have it recognize a library that's like folder out of folder out of folder out of folder somewhere else. So yeah, I gave up. I'll have to bitbang it, and that's why they bitbang it as well. But bitbanging one data line is much easier than bitbanging data and clock. So I'll get there at some point. I think they've got some bitbanging set up already. Now that they've merged together, there's some bitbanging on the Sambi side. Maybe I can kind of copy their code, but I need to use the ESP hooks for the I/O, which are pretty ugly at that point. Yep. What else, folks? I'm going to use this stream to procrastinate and not get any other stuff done, which I'm totally happy with. So I'm happy to keep chatting. Yeah, I will make this, it'll be private, but I'll post a link to it. Well, the link stays, so the link already posted will be the link for the recording afterwards, but it'll stay private, yes. So people can rewatch it. I'm trying to think, is there anything else? There's nothing exciting. I still haven't solved the RMT thing, the how to put a weight in. So there's none of that API is exposed in the ESP32 HAL, in the Arduino HAL, which is really frustrating. So I've worked out how I can talk to it bringing the driver in directly using extern C, kind of, but it doesn't work. It doesn't play nice with the Arduino HAL. So I've yet to work out how I can detect, unless I'm using channels, and I don't want to rewrite my whole RMT to support channels. It's already using a channel. It uses the default channel, and you don't pass it the channel. It works it out itself internally. But the struct that the HAL uses doesn't give you access to the channel. It gives you an ID, but the actual HAL doesn't give you any way of talking to a list of channels. And you need the channel to check the weight, to check if TX is finished. There doesn't seem to be a way of just, yeah. So I can't work out how to get the two of them working that way. What? I have to make a stew. Only 3 to 4 hours of cooking. Yum, beef stew. Lots of garlic. So lots of veggies in your stew. Do you put like potato, sweet potato, carrots? What else do you put in your stew? Peas. Yum. Lots of gravy. Yum. I'm getting hungry now. Gotta love the ASM in bit banging. What ASM in bit banging? Who's bit banging? Carrots and onions. You need more than carrots and onions. Come on. You need wholesome, chunky. Add peas after it's done. Yeah, Yaz doesn't like peas, and I love peas. So we always, I get to miss out. Don't get my peas. It's getting out of hand. No barley. I don't mind barley, but not in barley in soup, but not in a stew. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Peas are the best. Yep. Both mint peas and normal peas, as in non-mint. Yep. I don't know what else I can tell you guys. I don't know, like what else? What else do you want to know? What else can we talk about? So I need to build Neo 7 segments today. Because as I said, I'm out. I've got people on a wait list. I also want to build the LOL RGBs. Although I've got to work out how I'm going to price the LOL RGBs. Because as I said, there's a lot of LEDs on them. And they're expensive. And it's going to be an expensive board. So, did I finish the rocket? No, I haven't. It's sitting on my desk still. I got as far, it's on my desk to remind me. I got as far as starting to set up the cut files for the laser cutter to prototype the redesign I made. And then I started my renovation and I couldn't get access to the laser cutter, and I still can't. It's buried. So yeah, I really think this rocket as a kit would be awesome. I really do. I really want to make them. I took some vacation to build something with my Neo. You needed a vacation? Does it take that long? That's cool. What are you going to make? Please don't say a clock. No, you can make a clock if you want. I know someone that used 2 Neo 7 segments to make a eyes. Where's my Neo 7? I know someone that did like this. I don't know, I've only got one, but they did one there and one there, and they made eyes out of them. That was pretty cool. Price it to make something from them. Don't sell yourself short. I know, but it's not my board, my design. It's Alex's, right? I'm doing it just because he can't mass produce them. So yeah, like they're going to be way too expensive if I price them to make to make my time back and stuff. I need a vacation. Everyone have a vacation. Free. I'm giving out free vacations. Yeah. Anyway, look, I'm just going to make them. But I don't have any space on my pick and place machine. Any free space for all of the components, so I can put the LEDs on, but I'm going to have to hand place the transistor or the BSS, the level shifting MOSFET, which it doesn't really need, but Alex put on his design, so that's what I'm doing, making his design. But yeah, I think the rocket. I really want to. I want a prototype that it all fits together, right? And then I'll work on the electronics. There's too many things. I've got too many things I want to do, and I don't have enough time. I did build a whole bunch of my battery switches. I built that panel of battery switches, finished them off, soldered everything on. Wait, I've got one somewhere. Here you go. Here's the final one with the black screw terminals. It looks really cool. Hang on, let me switch cameras. I built them, even cleaned all the edges of them. They're all nice and clean. I haven't ultrasonically cleaned them though. They need to go in the ultrasonic cleaner. There's nothing in them that will be a problem. I had to wait till they were hand soldered to get rid of the flux on those. Yeah, so the next step is I want to design a little 3D bit for it. To stop the scraping of the through hole. But it's not worth me packaging these up and putting them on a store anywhere, because they're going to sell for a third of the price of the shipping. It's just not worth it. Not worth it at the moment, not till economy shipping comes back again. I just want to build a general interface. I do that a lot. Just put a TCP server on it, display whatever I want. Ooh, a snake on the digits would be cool. But of course a clock, yeah. What 3D printer did you get? How far is the Reflow Master Pro from release? No, it's not been 2 years since I started working on it. No, I don't feel, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. It's not close to release. Unfortunately, it's still, yeah. It's all coding, finished coding, but as in I need to finish all the coding. It's the same thing. Ooh, SLA, nice. I mean, the hardware works. The hardware's done. I can't. I've got too many projects. I can't get anything. Every time I want to sit down and get anything finished, I'm back pick and placing. I'm back building boards, which I'm not complaining about. I'm really not. But yeah, I just it's a real. I'm really struggling. I need more hands, or I need more time. Yeah, I'm one of the things I'm really not. Like, I'm excited about SLA in terms of the quality, but I can't. Yeah, about the smell and having to clean the stuff afterwards, and yeah, seems too messy for me right now. They need to simplify that, I think. I think Reflow Master Pro's only been about a year. I think. I mean, I could probably look back to see what date I did my first design. I got quite a few people bugging me. I'm not saying you guys are bugging me, but like about saying they want to buy a Reflow Master Pro, and they're holding off, and I appreciate that. I just, I probably need 2 solid weeks, probably, and I could finish it. But I just don't have 2 solid weeks. I just don't. Every time I think I do, I mean, this renovation is just taking a lot of time, and the builder, I've asked for a quote for the shed. He's gone AWOL and no quote back. Sorry, I'm going back to Eagle to see when I first did my first Reflow Master Pro. Yeah, it was February. No, that can't be right. Wasn't it last year? Yeah, April last year. Wow. Okay. Jeez, okay, April last year. Just asked Julian for a shed quote. Yeah, what? You think he's going to come over and build my shed for me? I need to get help. It's not quite 2 years yet. No, I didn't realize it was that long. I thought it was like, yeah, okay. I mean, it's got good company, right? This is my IR expander, but they're done. I've got them bagged. I've got them bagged with the cards. I just haven't done a store page for them. Mainly because I don't want to build more right now. I can't build these on my pick and place right now. Not that. And they need to be pick and place. They're too time consuming to build by hand. And so if I release them and I sell them and I need to restock them, I'm screwed. And that's honestly what's putting me off right now. You can let the resin sit in the tray for some weeks. Really? I didn't know you could do that with the resin. And the smell's getting better? Okay, good to know. But yeah, the cleaning just seems... Oof. Yeah. But it'd be nice to get a printer that prints faster than that these do. Yeah. And the same with my fan controllers. I've got a stack of them bagged, ready to go. So much stuff. So much stuff in different stages of completion. And like my battery charge controller project. So the last time when I built my last revision, on the stream, and I was having some problems with some of the values. I worked out what it was. There was the library I was using, it didn't. So the chip remembers whatever you set it to. It's like if you say the battery capacity is blah, and it's never been set before, it sets it and remembers it, and even when you turn it off and turn it back on again, that it uses that battery capacity. If you plug a different size battery in, it won't read it correctly. You need to put it back into set mode and tell it the battery capacity has changed, which I didn't know. So when I went from that small battery to the bigger battery and I was getting bad results, it was because I didn't change the battery size. So, I mean, that's kind of ready to go to the controller stage, like having a controller that can control them all. But again, like, I don't have time, and I don't know what for. I'd be doing it yet. And yeah, well, like, I've still got it sitting here on my desk, ready to go. That's the version that's working. I cannot get all my projects done. I just can't get them done. And I'm trying my best not to start too many new projects, like my Tiny Digit. Like, I think my Tiny Digit is going to be really cool, but I can't. The next step is a bunch of code. Do you really still think the problem gets better with the pick and place, or is it a general problem? No, the pick and place doesn't solve any of these. Pick and place doesn't solve my time. The pick and place is about solving my yield. Well, it's about solving my wasted time with this, and the time I have to spend fighting the machine, the time I have to spend fixing the parts before I can reflow, and the time I have to spend reworking after reflow because of this machine. That's what the new pick and place machine is designed to do. And it's designed to give me more capability, right? So I can go to 0201 if I want to reduce board size or whatever. Plus it's faster. So it gives me, yeah, okay. But none of that will solve there's only 24 hours in a day, and I've got too many things I'm working on, and, you know, and designing a board and assembling it is just one tiny small portion of the whole puzzle, you know, especially if it's something that I want to ship. There's often code, like this has got, you know, a MicroPython library and a Arduino library that needs to be maintained for it, as well as everything. I'm actually feeling better. Our family bathroom has been a shell since January. Yeah, but you can blame lockdown for that, right? There's just, you know, and there's so many things I've not even started with. Like, I've got a Tiny Pico board, a brand new board, a microcontroller board that's not called Tiny Pico, but it's called Tiny something else, that's using a completely different microcontroller, not an ESP32, but that I want to make pin compatible so it can be a drop-in for projects that don't need, well, it's got a radio but doesn't have Wi-Fi. It's got Bluetooth but no Wi-Fi. Different chip. Like, I want to, like, there's that I want to get done, which I've started. I've started from a design point of view, but, you know, and I've got some parts on the way. I've got, like, my Pro S2 is still sitting there. Like, I've not even, wonder what it could be. What? Wonder who could be. It still sounds to me like I need more manpower. I do need more manpower, I just don't know how to solve that. Like because I need very different disciplines to help me. You know, either I find as I mentioned before, either I find someone like me that's completely multidisciplined that can do multiple things, or I need to bring on help that's specific to, like, disciplines. Like, you know, I would love help. I'd like to take, you know, all the coding stuff or most of the coding stuff away from me, like, not my part specifically, but general coding, like library management and support and stuff. Sure, there's lots of people that are interested in a tiny Bluetooth board. Absolutely. And I think there's a strong market for it, especially at the right price. And if I can make it Tiny Pico footprint, then there's a bit of an ecosystem around it. But then that also means that there's libraries and drivers that need to be done and supported for it. But yeah, like, again, it's just a matter of time. Like, you know, even if I took a couple of days and Yes, it'll be an SCM32, is what I'm looking at. I'm looking at doing one with the WB30 or the 35, not the 55. It's too expensive right now, and you know, don't need all the Zigbee and the other potential stuff. But I'm looking at the WB, either the 30 or the 35, which is cool. It looks like a great MCU, but it's time. You know, even if I knocked up a design and got some boards made and, you know, prototype some hardware, the fact is I don't know if there's any Arduino support at all for the WB stuff at the moment. Definitely for the Bluetooth stuff. There is MicroPython support, which is great. It's being worked on because, yeah. But it's kind of limiting on who can use it then, right? Unless you're going to be using it directly with, you know, Cube MX and stuff, and plenty of people that do. But that's a whole then extra lot of support I need to do for it, not just for the hardware. Yeah. So many things I want to do. It's crazy. It really is. Like, yeah. I don't even know where to begin. And so instead I just plod along, getting as much done as I can. The community could help me with it, sure. But I can't rely on the community to get it done for me to be able to ship the product. Like, I can't ship a product that has no support yet. Like, shipping a product with no support is pointless. And having the community help, which is great, don't get me wrong, but there's no deadlines to that. There's no commitment to that. There's you know what I mean? Like, the only way to get stuff done in time to have something shippable is to get it done, to pay to get it done, or to do the work to get it done. You know what I mean? So, community support is great, but can't be relied on for shipping a product. So, yeah. If anyone's got any suggestions on how I can solve all of this, it'd be great. Other than just sleep less, have more, you know. But even that wouldn't help me. I've still got too many things. I'm just looking around at my shelf and all my stuff. Oh. So many things. And I haven't got back to my secret project yet that I still want to get back to and see if I can turn it around. Get a student to help with menial tasks. But how does that work? That's the thing, like a student. Okay, well, I got to find someone. What do I do? Where do I advertise? Let me finish before you answer each question. Where do I advertise? And then what do? I start interviewing people. And what's the role? You said menial task. Like, how am I interviewing? What's the role that I'm advertising for? And then what's their skill set? Like, what menial tasks are they going to do that's going to really help me? Other than stuffing bags, like, honestly, you know, like, for instance, if I was to get someone in to help me clean the edges of my boards, I was thinking about this yesterday as I'm sitting there cleaning every edge. I can't do that. This is not a menial task. Can I tell you, I can, in one blink of a second, when I'm not concentrating, I can completely destroy a tiny pico. All I need to do is take a little tiny corner off the edge, and that pin is not solderable anymore, and that tiny pico can't be shipped, right? And not only is that a waste of the whole entire BOM cost and manufacturing cost of that one board, but it's also a waste of the profit margin I could have got for that board, right? So bringing a student in, for argument's sake, and having them destroy 2 or 3 boards cost me too much money. You know what I mean? Like, plus it's a safety thing. Like, I stand there, I've got my mask on, I've got my gloves on, I've got a special hoodie that I cover myself in that only gets used for this because I've got FR4 going everywhere, right? There's that. And the same with the ultrasonic cleaning, you know, and stuff. Like, when you talk about menial tasks, what are the menial tasks? Apart from stuffing bags, all of my menial tasks that are really repetitive are skilled tasks. Like reworking boards. Like I can't, I need someone who can actually skilled at reworking, right? Possibly packing bags is the only thing, and Yuz helps me at night time with that. But that's not enough. Like there's stacks of code that needs to be written and maintained. There's stacks of documentation that needs to be done. Could you bring in a student to build a machine? How would a student have the skills to build a machine to clean boards? You know what I mean? People can be trained, absolutely. So I look at how long do I take to train someone to do that task, and how much could I done in the same amount of time while I was training them, right? And if I was to bring someone on to help me with reworking boards, I need to buy another microscope. I need to set them up with another hot air station, right? I mean, they can't sit on my lap working on the microscope while I'm working. The bringing one person on to do something other than just packing bags where they can sit on the floor or the couch, or coding where they just need a computer screen in front of them. I need to buy infrastructure, right? They need a desk and a chair and a microscope and a hot air station, plus the skills for training. I mean, that takes time. Like, you gotta remember, I've run businesses before. I know many of you have as well, so I'm not, there's rules about the lap as well. So I'm not saying that I know more than anyone else about anything, right? But like, I've run businesses my whole life, and I've had, up to 55 staff at one point. Like, I know what it takes to, to bring a person on, and the cost of the person in wages aside, it costs money and time. Right, so if I'm going to invest in my business, I'm not looking at bringing a student on part-time. Like, that doesn't help me. If I'm investing in my business, I need to invest in my business. Like, if I'm going to bring someone on, I don't want to bring someone on to do menial tasks. That's not investing in my business. That's getting someone in to do the grunge work I don't want to do. If I'm going to invest in my business, I want to bring someone in that can add to my business, that can allow my business to do more, not just take work away from me to free me up, but they can add value to my business, right? If I'm going to bring someone in, I want them to be able to not only do stuff, like, for instance, if I'm going to bring someone in to take over, let's say, a bunch of code, I don't want them to just be able to do what I can do. I want them to be able to do way more than I can do, so it adds value. You know what I mean? Because the amount of effort in bringing someone in, the amount of cost and effort to bring someone in, it's not worth it unless they're adding value. I hope that makes sense. Yeah, so that's why I'm not looking at just bringing someone in to do the shit work, because that doesn't help me. Because the shit work isn't all the time. It comes in blobs. This time it's come in a big blob, like 3,000 boards, but this stack, what I do with that person outside of that one time. Okay, great. So this order gets done, and then what? And again, it becomes a multidiscipline thing. If I can find someone that can do hardware and software, great. But you don't find that necessarily in a student. You don't find that necessarily in someone that hasn't. Like, how do you find that person? Anyway, sorry. Yeah. I'm passionate. Sorry. I'm not talk and deliver. Too passionate sometimes. And I've lost. Sorry. I can't find my stream page. Come on, YouTube. Oh, found it. Okay, cool. So, yeah. Plus, I've also got a space issue, right? I'm working from home. Someone's going to have to come here to work. I guess once the garage is set up, and if I ever get my shed built and I've cleaned this space up, I'll have space to bring someone in. No problem. But I also don't have the income to really cover. I don't have the income to cover a full-time person, and bringing a part-time person in may help a bit, but won't help a lot, depending on, unless they're multidiscipline. And having had a lot of staff before, like if I'm going to bring someone in, it's got to be the right person. I don't want to mess around with the wrong people. Like, I know that sounds weird, but it's got to be a really good fit. They've got to be able to work with me and my craziness, my jumping around between different things all the time. That's going to be a challenge for people. Wow, we've been going for over 2 hours. Woohoo! So I'm happy to... Anything else we want to... Now that we can't solve that. Yeah. That's going to take time. I'm not going to be able to do anything about bringing someone on until the new year. At least anyway. Because of just... COVID and whatever else. Ooh, something happened to my live stream. Interesting. The preview in YouTube Studio is wrong. Okay, anyway. Hence the Saturday job. Young, enthusiastic person. Just to give you a bit of time back. I have put up the fixed UF2 binary for download. It's up there, I told you. It's been up there since yesterday, or my yesterday. Yeah, but a Saturday job, well, okay, sure, I could get someone on a Saturday to help me pack some bags, but that's about it. Like, yeah, I don't know. Possibly. The bags are the least. I mean, the bags take a chunk of time right now, honestly, sure, because I got 5,000 of them to do. But yes. I could get help with that. Sometimes my kids help, but most of the time they can't be bothered because they don't enjoy it. I don't blame them. Sure. It's one less thing, I know. And I guess one less thing helps, but it really... Yeah. Sure, I get it, Rob. I do. I'm trying to solve the bigger picture. But I also use packing bags to zone out. Like, you know what I mean? Like, sometimes I need a break from building or doing whatever else. Like, like I'll sit there and watch Star Trek or whatever, catch up on some YouTube and just sit there packing bags watching YouTube, you know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world. Sometimes it gives me the ability to zone out. But sure. But I can't do anything like that right now with lockdown. Like, we're still in lockdown. Like, technically I can't have... Oh. Yeah. We're not allowed to have strangers in our houses still. Like, my kids can have, some of their, like a family over for a play date, but I can't just have random people come into my house still with the lockdown conditions. So none of this is going to get solved anytime soon anyway. And none of my kids' friends are too young and will definitely not be interested in stuffing envelopes, even for pocket money. Even for good money, I don't think they will be. Yeah. Hopefully, on the 8th, hopefully they'll announce something. We'll see. Things are looking good, so yeah, hopefully. I keep looking at the election results. Yeah, regional... Whereabouts are you, Kyle? Sure, Simon. Yeah, it's getting late. I know it's been going for over 2 hours. Mildura. Right. Cool. Yeah, catch you later, Simon. Thanks for joining. The regional areas have had it easier, which has been great. Remote helper. Sure. I've been speaking to Mike Kauser possibly about doing some of my coding stuff. He does MicroPython and C and whatever, and he writes lots of libraries and stuff. Do I have a contact for custom cables? I've had some custom JST cables and stuff made, whatever. I just found someone on Alibaba. They're not really a contact. I mean, they're each one of these. What I found with Alibaba is each supplier might be really good on price and quality on a particular thing, but not on other particular things. So you better look on Alibaba. It's not too hard to do if you want to get, as long as you can do the quantity. You know, they all want minimum of, hundreds, if not 1,000 cables. So the minimum order quantity is potentially the problem. Mark? If I had a robot, that'd be good. Okay, you know what? We're going for ages. It's late for many of you, and I actually do need to get back to work. I've got, still over 3,000 tiny picos to build. Thank you all for joining. It was kind of fun. It felt kind of similar, but different. Yeah. Yes, the food won't cook itself. I got your order, Crazy Roops. Thank you. I'll ship it out today. And thanks for everyone for joining. Thanks for not leaving me sitting here by myself. That would have been awkward. I hope you all have a fantastic weekend, and I hope you all stay safe. And for those of you going into lockdown, good luck. For those of you currently in lockdown, well, I hope it doesn't last forever. And I hope to chat with you all soon. Bye, everyone. Thank you. Catch you later.